Here we were out on the spring day on April 21st, peak season for morel mushrooms. We actually did end up finding some morel mushrooms, so you can check out my other video about morel mushrooms, but this video is just showing a bunch of other stuff that I found. So, yeah, enjoy these spring findings. This over here is Dekay's brown snake. This is a common type of snake found in the area, along with a garter snake. Something that Dekay's brown snake has in common with the garter snake is that they hibernate in big clusters, and when they emerge in the spring, they immediately start mating, and they get pregnant with their young. They don't lay eggs, they give live birth. So this one is an adult one, that's how big they grow. But then, this one is just a baby. It probably is not a newborn, because newborns are born in like late summer and fall. They mate and they need some time to gestate while their mother is pregnant with them. But this one was probably born in the fall and went through hibernation and still needs some time to grow. So, yeah, this is a Dekay's brown snake. The one in the first clip, the adult one, might be on its way to find its mate or may even be pregnant right now. We'll never know. Talking all about all kinds of edible mushrooms you could find this time of year. But also, be careful because there's also plenty of poisonous mushrooms like what we see on this log. Over here looks like a little brown mushroom. And when you pick it up, it's got these reddish brown pores. It might have a ring around the stem, or the ring might have fallen off. Yeah, the reddish brown gills. Let me find one with a ring on it so I could show that one, maybe this younger one. Hang on. Come over here. Okay, you can see a little piece of the ring here. And the ring has this reddish brown color. And you can see that that's because the spores fall from the gills and they fall onto that ring and they stain it. So the spores are going to be the same color as that, this reddish brown color. So if you come down here and look at this leaf, at some point in time, maybe this leaf was tucked under this gill here, and then the spores dropped on it and left this spore imprint on the leaf. So you can see that it has reddish brown spores. So this is a poisonous mushroom called the funeral bell. It's one of the few mushrooms that is poisonous in the sense that if you eat it, you'll die. There's plenty of poisonous mushrooms that you'll eat it and you'll get sick for a while. You might vomit and have diarrhea, but then you'll be fine. But this one, if you eat enough of it, it could cause liver failure, which you could die from. And when I was seeing it from a distance, I was thinking, hey, maybe it's another edible mushroom, the velvet shank, which has, from a distance, you can see it has that orangish cap, but then when you look at it, it has a black stem and white spores. So if you're looking for edible mushrooms, that's one to look out for, the funeral bell. So I know I made a couple videos about wasp nests before, but this one's cool. They abandoned it over the winter, so this one's just on the floor. In the spring they'll be building new ones, but you can see the remnants. So these little cells are what they raise the larvae in. There's little larvae that live in here, and then when they're ready to pupate, they make a silk thing over there. So you can see the ones that are still closed are the ones that didn't make it all the way to adulthood. So if we just pick this off, you can see what was growing in there. The pupa. This is like when a butterfly builds a cocoon. This is the same thing that these little things with the silk, these little things with the silk caps on them. And this one wasn't very well developed, so this one was still developing as a pupa. But then there's some more that were just about to hatch. So let me see if I can find one of those. So I found a good example. This one was probably just about ready to come out, but it was already too cold and it died in there. So yeah, this is pretty much an adult wasp. It looks like it's probably a bald-faced hornet just on first glance. There's a number of different wasps that form nests like this called paper wasps. So there's a bunch of different types of paper wasps, but I think this particular one is called a bald-faced hornet. But he didn't get a chance to become an adult. So yeah, that's the purpose of these hornet cells. Over here is a special springtime treat that you get. It's called a vernal pool. So it's kind of a shallow area where it rains and it fills up with water, and it's only like that during the spring when there's high rain. And during the summer it dries up, so it's only there for a short period of time in the year, and it makes a good place for some semi-aquatic organisms to lay their eggs. So these are going to be animals that have only a short part of their life cycle that they live in water. So that's going to be amphibians like frogs and salamanders. And it's going to be some semi-aquatic insects that have their larval stage in the water, like dragonflies or mayflies and mosquitoes and stuff like that. So this is a really good place for them to lay their eggs because it provides a body of water where there's no fish. So there's going to be a lot less predators for their eggs and their young. So they can lay their eggs there, and there'll be less predators, but still birds and snakes and stuff can get in there. You see this one is pretty polluted. You see the oil slick on the edge, so there's not going to be that much diversity. A lot of the animals that lay their eggs in vernal pools are amphibians, and amphibians are really sensitive to their environment. So there's pretty much just probably some American toad tadpoles and some mosquito larvae that are living in here, but it's still cool. There are some animals that only will lay their eggs in vernal pools and not in any other type of body of water. Some of those are like spotted salamanders or spring peepers, wood frogs. Those are some things we have in Illinois, but they don't live over in this area. And so yeah, you can see this vegetation is where you'll hear the frogs calling. You'll hear like American toads or spring peepers calling. They'll be amongst these vegetations and they'll mate and they'll lay eggs. And they'll hatch into tadpoles, which over here I'm trying to get some video of some tadpoles, but the reflection is making it kind of difficult. I hope you can see some of it. But yeah, these are probably American toad tadpoles. American toads are not very sensitive to their environment, so they can live in polluted areas. But other than that, necessity for animals that lay their eggs in vernal pools would be that they have a short larval stage. So like American bullfrogs, their tadpoles need to live in the water for like multiple years. So they can't lay their eggs in vernal pools. They're only going to lay their eggs in permanent bodies of water. But if you are an animal that can lay your egg in vernal pools, then this provides a nice haven for them, provided that it's not polluted, to be free from fish, not entirely exempt from predators, but there's a lot less predators to get them. So these are just some fun spring things if you're out looking for morel mushrooms, but you're towing up short and you don't find any morel mushrooms, there's still some cool, amazing things to find. So you can check out my other video that is all about morel mushrooms if you're curious about that. But other than that, just to show that there's always some cool things to find during spring. I hope you enjoy the video, and be sure to like and subscribe if you want to explore nature with me and Braylee in the next one.